Hello everyone. So today I'm going to explain that how we are going to use Keycloak and how we are going to integrate Keycloak with Springboot. Springboot latest version, that is Springboot 3. As we know, like this Keycloak having a lot of features for using, like the user registration, social login, single sign off across applications belonging to the same realm, actually real two-factor authentications, LDAP integrations. So a lot of things it actually provides. So now as we know, like if we talked about the Keycloak, like why actually basically we are going to use this Keycloak for authentications and all those stuff. So as we know, this Keycloak is a open source software product to allow the single sign-on with identity and access management aimed at modern application and services. So like if we discuss about this like Keycloak, so like why this Keycloak is important. So it is important because like we can add authentications to applications and secure our services. We can like usually in our applications, basically we are storing whenever like we are going to implement any login pages for our applications, then basically we are going to storing the user informations with username and passwords into our database. But if we are going to use a Keycloak, then like Keycloak store all the strong password with some secure in a way, so that we don't need to bother about those things. It will handle those complexities from the Keycloak end. Okay. Keycloak provides the features like strong authentications, federations, to authenticate the users without knowing the password that can be system using like federated identity, user management, and authorizations, all those things. We can use the Keycloak if we need some identity and user management platform. In the end, like we are able to also know means we can do single sign-on features. Once the user logged in into the Keycloak, he doesn't have to log in again to access the another applications. Okay, and we can like as you know it's a open source, so we can like easily we can get all those things. And it's also provide like user-friendly admin console, so that from there like we can manage all those things, we can uh, we can easily set our own realm, and then we can from there we can easily create our client, then user, which user is going to access which kind of the URL, and also we can easily integrate with this Spring Boot. So these are the like basic features of the Keycloak that basically we can use directly. So if we see over here, this is a like Keycloak. This is the official website of this Keycloak. It's having those all those features like single sign-on. If you see this, it is authenticated with Keycloak rather than individual applications. Mean like applications actually don't have to deal with the login form, authentication user, and storing the user password and all those things. Keycloak will automatically handle those things. It's also like identity brokering and the social logging. Like it is also supported the Google, Facebook, GitHub, all those login it's supported. So you can easily integrate with those all those things. Then like admin console, like I will show you so I will download the Keycloak in my local for installations, then I will install, and then I will show you like how it will be look, how we can like configure the all those stuff. So I will definitely show you all those things, but it will be look like something this. So from here basically we can easily like create our clients, and then roles, and also users. So basically those are the things that we can manage from over here, and it's a very user friendly. From the account management consoles, so it's having this kind of menus. So from here also like we can maintain all those things. It's also support the standard protocol like OpenID, Auth2, SAML. So this is also having the standard protocol. Authorization services, like it says like if the role-based authorization doesn't cover your needs, Keycloak provide the fine-grained authorization services as well. So it's also provide the authorization kind of things services. This allow us to manage the permissions for all your services from the Keycloak admin. Like we can create our own role and all those things. Now if we come about the like here all the things is provided. We can get all the details from over here. Now if we want to like install this Keycloak into our systems, then how we are going to do this? So like it's already having this server like Keycloak. This is for the Windows, this is image and all those things. So we need to like download this zip. So once we download this one, then we can after extraction we can get this one. Okay, Keycloak 23rd versions, 23 versions, and here basically it's having a bin. Okay, so from here basically uh, we need to run this one kc.bat. So from over here we can use the command prompt. Okay, and here kc.bat, and here we need to write start-dev. I will provide this command into the in the description sections obviously, so that it will be access to you all. And also I will provide the instruction like from where I can download this one and how we are going to run this one. So if it is a like Linux, so instead of the bat file we need to run the kc.sh file, and then the start dev will be the same. So if we start this one, then it will open, like it will take some time to start with, but not much. So once it will start basically, then it will we can access this one into 8080 port. We can also change the port from the configurations, but without changing any configurations I kept as is. uh, so I will open in this 8080 port. Okay, so let this start first. As you can see, let me see now. It's not started yet, so it's still taking time. Okay, as you can see, it's listening on this localhost 880 port, and it's installed in all these things over here. So now if we see, it started. Okay, so this is the initial page that we get. So if we are having the username and password for login, we can directly log in as it is a started. So here basically we need to create the user first. Okay, so for me like admin as a user and admin as a password. Okay, now if we create the admin user, then we need to run this as an administrative console. So over here we need to pass the username like admin and admin. Okay, so it will landed to us in a like this one is the page that is the Keycloak default page. Okay, so as you can see, this is the default master this one. Okay, master realm is the default one. So here basically the first step to we need to create the like another new realm, so that it will not default creating. We need to create the realm. So for that we need to like we need to follow something. And if we talked about what is this realm actually, realm, so it's a management entity basically that controls set of users, their credentials, roles and groups, and user belongs to and logs into this realm. Okay, so if you talked about that, there is a maybe uh, like lots of if you are in a moving out, or maybe in a complex, lots of like a flat over there, right? Tallest buildings and all those things. So it is like, but maybe there's a 10 or 20 numbers of any like block, and but it is belongs to a single like complex. So then this particular boundaries or complex is showing as a Keycloak, and this particular block or maybe the buildings is showing as a real. Okay, so now if we want to create first, so from here in the drop down you can see create realm. Okay, so from here we can create this realm. So here basically we need to means give the name. So maybe it's a like demo Keycloak. Okay, for example, like we can say Springboot demo Keycloak. Okay, now if we want to create this one, so it will be created over here. Okay, it's created. You can see now this is the default as it is a ticked. Okay, we can create multiple over here. So now this is a created. Next, basically we need to create the client. So clients are the entities basically that can request Keycloak to authenticate user, and this client represent basically a resource that can be accessed by the certain user. So this Keycloaks comes with set of inbuilt clients that are for their internal use. So obviously those we are not going to use anywhere. So for that we are going to create a new client. So as you can see, if we create, so you can see there's a lots of like default client over like account consoles, admin CLI. So these are basically default use by this Keycloak internally. So we are not going to update or modify anything over here, or nor we are going to use those things. Instead of, we are going to create the client. So here basically client type, it's provided the SAML and the OpenID Connect. So we are going to use this OpenID Connect. Here basically we are going to pass this OpenID. So open means we are going to use a client ID. That client ID basically used when we are going to generate the access tokens or trying to like integrate with this. So this is client ID is very important and it will be like unique. So we need to provide the client ID. So we can provide like Springboot demo client. Okay, Springboot Keycloak demo client. Okay, now if we provide the next, so those are default configuration. We are keeping those things as is. We are not going to modify anything over here. Now here basically, as you can see, the valid redirect URL. So this is a very important basically, like why it is important. So once we are calling for authenticating or maybe for accessing the token from this Keycloak server, so after hitting, it will be redirect to in which URL. So this URL basically, whatever the Spring Boot applications we are going to develop, so whatever the URL over there, so that actually basically we are going to provide over here, so that it will redirect to that particular URL. So it will be in our case it will be localhost, as the 880 port already used by this Keycloak server. So here for the Spring Boot application we are going to use the 8081 port and /star. So that means this is the redirect URL from where Keycloak server will be redirect. Okay, so this will be we need to provide over here, and then we need to save the data for client. So that means this client is created successfully and this is the client ID. Next basically we are going to create the roles. So as you know, whatever the user we are going to create here, so that each users, or we can say every user, must have a role. As a Keycloak is a user based access, right? This allow us to have different types of user with different types of user permissions. Mainly here, as you can see, this realms roles actually having provide the two types of provide the roles. One is the client roles and another one is the realm roles. Okay, so this realm roles actually, it's a kind of global roles which belonging to the specific realm. This can be accessed from any client and map it to any user. Like global admin and admin role can be considered for this as an example. And the client role, it's a role which belongs to only a specific to the client. So this role cannot be accessed from different client. It is only like bounded to this particular client, and this is kind of like depend on this particular client. And role also can be like combined from the multiple roles. So this we can call as a like composite role. Okay, so let's create first like the role over here. like if we want to create the client role, then uh, uh, like first of all we can create one admin role over here. Let's save it, and then okay, and then we need to create another role, for example user. Okay, so these two roles we have created. Clients, this client actually we have created, and these are the roles. Okay, so this client role is created now. Now we are going to create the realm roles. So here we need to create, like just to differentiate, we can't either we can create some differentiate, for example like maybe realm underscore admin and realm underscore user. Underscore user. Okay, so these two roles we have created over here, this admin. And next, what basically we need to do over here, we need to we need to map, like add associated role. So here basically what we will do, like here basically we need to search by filter by the client. So here you can see there is a this where it is, this one. Okay, so as you can see we are assigning this to admin, so we can choose this one, admin. Okay, okay, so this is done now. And then as you can see it will be, as there's a multiple roles, it will be a composite. Now realm user, so here basically we're going to assign associated the roles by clients. And if we see the search the user, so this one we need to assign. Okay, so these two roles actually, these are the associated. Okay, now the role creation is done. Okay, so we have created, what we have done over here, we have created the two roles for client and two roles for realm user. Okay, so the role creation is done. Next basically we are going to create the user. As we know, we have already created the realms, clients and the roles. Okay, the next part is to be like the user. From this user basically we are going to access the token and all those stuff. So how we are going to create over here, like here also we are going to create two users. One is like with the user role, another one is the like with the admin role. So that particular like user we are going to create. So how we are going to create the user, so as you can see over here, this is the user menus over here. So from here we are going to create the add user. So we don't need to like this select actions. So username basically we need to provide like admin user. Okay, or maybe we can say like app underscore admin. Okay, email we can say we need to provide something like app underscore admin @abc.com. Okay, email verified. And like we just need to say the create. Okay, so once this is user is created, then we need to provide the role. So as you can see here, the role is over here. So here it will be a admin. Okay, correct. And also I'll show you like also one password we need to create for that. So I'll come over there. But here this is the thing, we have assigned the role, and here there's a one thing, the credentials. So this is a basically password. So we need to set the password over here. So as this is the admin, so we are going to set the password for this app underscore admin. Okay, app underscore admin, app underscore admin. Okay, now we need to save the password. So this is the done now. So app admin we have created. Okay, this is the one of the user that we have created. Now basically we need to create the another user, which is app user, we can say. So app admin is done. Next user is like app underscore user. Okay, app underscore user @ abc.com. Email verified, then create. Next we need to set the credentials. So it's a app underscore user, and then also we need to set the same app underscore user. Temporary we need to set it off for the, just remove the complexities. So this is also you've set the password. Now we need to provide the role, so it will be a user. Okay, realm user. So user creation is done now. So next step, like what we have followed over here, first we have client the realm first, then we have created one client, and then we have created the realm roles and user roles, client roles, and then we have mapped with the realm roles with the client roles, and then we have created the user. Okay, now actually we need to trying to access the like access token with this particular uh, like URL. Okay, so this is the URL would be, something like this. Okay, like this realms, this localhost 8080 realm springboot, this is the client ID, protocol open ID, this token. So here basically we need to provide the client ID. So for us the client ID is uh, this is the client ID, right? So this ID we need to provide over here. This is the client ID. Then basically we need to provide the username. So for us we are having the username. This is the one user, and this is admin user, and this is the normal user. So we are providing this normal user. Okay, like app underscore user, and password is also same. Now if we try to access this one, so you can see this is the, like, it give us the access token for us. Also when it will be expires, refresh token expires in this, and this is with that also refresh token. The token type is BRR token, session state, and scope is the profile and email. So this is the like basically things that we are using over here. So, and as you can see, this is a like kind of post request, and this is a like XWTW form, and this is the type of this one. As we can provide the like grant type, the password, client ID, username, and password. This information we have passed, and this is the basically URL for fetching the access token. So based on this token we need to call the next services from the Spring Boot application. So this is kind of the configuration is done from the uh, from the Keycloak side. So these are the like configurations. And next if we talked about the uh, this is the settings, and we can provide OpenID endpoint configuration. So from here you can get all the details, like this is the token URL as I was using. So this is the like kind of token URL and all those things for informations over here. Next authorization authentications, and also like here, from here basically we can change the like token you can see the expiry time and all those things. Code lifespan, it's a 10 minutes, or how much time we need to provide. As you can see over here, the like expired in this seconds and all those things. So this kind of things also you can modify from over here also. Okay, so these are the like basically this is the refresh token span 5 minutes. Okay, and this is the like 10 minutes. 10 minutes means 600 seconds. This auto device code. So these are the things that basically we can take care from over here also. So this is the kind of configurations that we need to do, and as you can see, this is a very simple approach for configure all those things from over here in the Spring Boot Keycloak. In the next, basically what we need to do, basically we need to create one Spring Boot applications, and we need to like use this connectivity from there. We need to provide some configurations to connect with, just to verify this token is valid or not. So this kind of for verifying all those things, we need to use this with the Keycloak Oauth2 server is over there, so that we are going to use. So like next we need to create want like Spring Boot applications with dependencies like Spring Web, Spring Security, and Auth2 resource servers. Okay, so these are the dependencies basically I'm going to use over there. As you know, like we need to use the Spring Boot Starter Auth2 client that we can use for app server UI, and or maybe Auth2 client is not needed for this one. Auth2 resource server basically we need just to use the REST API server. So here basically we're going to use the Auth2 resource server to build the REST API server. After adding all those dependencies, we can generate the like project, and we can import into any ID like IntelliJ or STS or Eclipse. And then also you need to update the port in 8081 because the Keycloak already uses 8080 port. And then I'll write one controller over there, and also like we need to provide some Keycloak integrations, properties, and other details into the YML, either YML or the properties file. And also we have to like use as this is a JWT token, so we need to provide all the information, security kind of thing, how we are going to the like JWT. It's using some properties like JWK set URI property. It's actually containing the public key. So I will explain all those stuff, how you are going to use those one. Also we need to return some kind of the converter so that we can parse the token, and from there we can get all those informations. So these are the things basically in the next I will do. So let's see like how we are going to use all those things. So I hope this Keycloak wise we are good. If you guys have anything, please drop a comment so that I will try in the comment sections, or I will try to more details for those things. So let's create one Spring Boot project and check how you are going to like call those things, how you are going to integrate all those things into the Keycloak and the Spring Boot 3. So hope the configurations wise all the things are clear about the Keycloak, like how we are going to create the users, how you're going to create the like new realms roles and the clients, all those stuff, how we're going to mapping those things. So all these things is done, it means we can done from the like over this Keycloak, this admin UI. Now for integrating this like this Keycloak with Spring Boot APIs. So for that basically we are going to create one project with the Spring Boot. So like for creating, as I said earlier, like from this Spring Initializer website, we can easily create the Spring Boot project. Like we can from over here, we can choose the like what kind of the language it is, what kind of the project, either Maven or Gradle. Then a Spring Boot version, basically we need to choose, and then we need to provide the, so either you can choose the version from over here, then we need to provide the metadata like a group, artifact, name, and the descriptions. And over here we can choose the dependencies. So for like using integrating this Keycloak with this Spring Boot, so we are going to use like few. First of all, we need to create one REST API. So for that, we need to use this Spring Boot dependencies. As part of the securities, we are going to use the Spring Security, this one, and next like auth resource server, this one. So as we're going to like kind means using the uh, like as we're going to use these applications for REST APIs, so that's why basically we are a REST API server. So that's why basically we're going to use this resource server. So once this is done, then like we can generate the project, and we can import this one into our, like whatever the ID you are having. So over there I have already created the project previously, and then I have imported here using like from here, like either import as a Maven or Gradle, whatever the project you are having. So based on that your ID, import those things, and then after that it will be look like something like, okay. So here this is the things, and in the POM file you can see I have used this depending auth resource server, Spring security, starter web, and the Lombok. Okay, this test is needed, but it's not really required. Basically, we can ignore it for the time being. Okay, so this is the kind of little bit of dependencies management things for this one. Next, as you know, the Keycloak server is basically default running in this 8080 port, right? So we can also understand, like we can also know, like the if we start this particular server, and if we doesn't provide any kind of the extra configuration regarding the port here, so then this particular project will start in the trying to start in the 8080 port. So as you know, like already if the 8080 port is already like used, so it will unable to start the applications due to the conflict, because in a single port single application can run. So for that basically we need to provide the different port over here. Okay, like this port, and here is a 8080. Okay, 8081, because like this already 8080 is already used, so that's why we are providing this 8081. Okay, so this path we have provided over here, this port. Next basically we're going to write one controller over here. So for that, like we can create another package for this, like maybe this dot, and then like controller. Okay, and here we are going to create another class like Keycloak controller. Okay, and here basically we are going to, as it is represent the controller, so we are going to annotate this with as a REST controller, and also we need to provide the API request mapping. So we need to provide this one request mapping, okay. And here basically we're going to provide the one path, okay, so that whenever we're going to like calling this particular APIs, then we need to mention this path over here. So here I'm going to like provide, or maybe I am going to create the two methods, get methods, and both actually we are not writing any kind of business logic. We'll just provide two endpoints over here, and from here we are going to return something. And one API is for that admin, like whatever the user is we have created in the Keycloak, we have created the two user, right? One is the admin, another one is the like simple user. So the admin can access only the admin endpoint, and normal user can access only the normal endpoint. Okay, so here I'm going to create this one public void, then get admin details. Okay, here basically we need to, and it will be a get mapping obviously. So for that we need to annotate this with get mapping, and here also we can provide some path, like for example get admin details. Okay, and here what we are going to return from over here, like something like return response entity dot okay. Okay, and here we are going to pass some messages, kind of like hello admin. Okay, and as we are returning this response entity, so it is the response entity of string. In the similar fashions, we are also going to like write another API, which is kind of get user details. Okay, and then we need to rename this one and hello user. So these two APIs we have created, and like we can access those things. by this API and then get admin details and API/get user details. Okay, this particular API will only accessible if this particular user is having the admin role, and this API will be accessible if this particular user, whatever the user we are going to use for getting the access token, if this particular user having the user role, then only this API is is able to access, else it will give us the 403 forbidden. Okay, now for integrating the Keycloak with into our applications, we need to provide some informations like we need to provide the issuer URI, then JWT set URI, because mm, JWT access token basically include all the necessary informations about the signed in user, right? So resource server basically need to verify those informations about the signed in user. So the resource server need to verify all those things to ensure that the token or something has not been modified. And another property is basically we are going to use that JWK set URI property. This property contains the public key that server can use for this purpose. And JWT auth server basically auth converter properties, the resource ID specified the identifier that resource that the token is intended to access, and the principal attributes also that I can use another properties related to the JWT jot auth converter properties. This is basically attribute to access, that to access means in JWT that client will use to identify the authenticate user. Okay, so that properties basically I'm going to use over here. So how we are going to use that, let's check. Okay, Spring, then we need to provide the first of all like the application name. Okay, here we can provide the name is something like Springboot Keycloak integration. Okay, next we need to use the security. What kind of the security we're using here? So it's a Oauth2, right? Oauth2. Then we are going to use the resource server. So what kind of the token we are using over here? JWT. Now here we are using the issuer URI. Okay, and this will be that URL we are using over here. So let me localhost regions Springboot Keycloak, and then okay, this is the issuer URI, and then we are going to use the JWK slash set URI. Okay, and this will be a spring dot security dot auth2 dot resource server dot JWT dot this URI dot this, and then basically it will use the protocol slash OpenID connect slash search. Okay, so this is the basically URL for verifying the uh, token on all those stops, and next in the next basically we're going to use the JWT auth then converter. It's a here basically converter, and then we are going to use the resource ID. Okay, resource ID, it will be a client ID. So for us, the client ID is, we can get the details from over here. It's a session was logged out, so we can get the details from over here. So our client ID is this one. Okay, so this ID we can provide as a resource ID, and then principal attribute. Okay, this will be a preferred username. Okay, so these are the informations, or we can say the configuration that we basically use to connect with the Keycloak, so that it will verify all the details from the Keycloak server. Okay, so this is about this configuration kind of things. And now we are going to use like these properties we are going to use in applications. So we need to parsing those information, and we can set those information into a particular class. So for that we are going to create another package, for example controller, and then configuration. Okay, and here we are going to create another class, let's say Keycloak configuration. Okay, so it will be obviously a configurable class, so we need to annotate with a configurations. Okay, and now basically, and how we are going to read the properties from the YML file for that. So it will directly like use this one configuration properties. So it will prefix whatever the prefix it will get, like JWT auth and converter, it will all the details. So if we see JWT auth and converter, so over here this two properties values over here, so it will read the data from here and it will set over here. Okay, so here basically we are going to use two variables, like one is the resource ID and another one is this preferred principal attributes. Okay, so uh, these are the basically used for this one. Okay, this principal attribute. Okay, so this configuration wise were done, and here basically we're going to use another annotation which is basically related to the lombok, so that we are not going to use any kind of the getter and setter. So this is the thing for this one. Okay, so configuration is done now, and next like we are going to create the like one security kind of configurations, so which will basically uh, we can like we need to HTTP, we need to what kind of the URL is we are able to access with authentications, without authentication. So those kind of configurations basically, or security kind of things we need to used over here. So let's like create another class over here, for example like security filter. Okay, so it will be, we can annotate with like these configurations, and then there is another basically which will enable the web security. So this is the annotation. Okay, now basically we are going to create one class which will basically, not class actually, one method, means one bean we are going to create. So which will actually, here basically we can define all the like URL related access and all those things, and how we are also going to like access the informations from the access token. So we can also write our own customized converter which will basically convert the all the details from the token and get the details from the token. So let's create the particular the bean, like bean. Okay, and it will be a public, for example I'm keeping as a void, then filter, and it will take one like input, as it is a HTTP security. Okay, HTTP. Now here HTTP dot authorize requests. Okay, HTTP request. dot request matchers. So first of all, we need to provide the HTTP method. It's a get method. Then we need to provide the path over here, like slash API and then slash admin. So this particular basically this particular AP means URL actually access if it is this role has role has any role and it will be a admin. Okay, so that means this particular uh, this particular URL only accessible if it is having a role of uh, like uh, like this admin. Okay, or we can say that has role if it is only accessible if it is having the role with the admin. Next methods we can say API user. Okay, and this will accessible if it is having a role as a user. Okay, now here we are going to use the any request dot authenticated. Okay, so first, okay, it will throw some exception, so either we can throw or like handle those things. So we are throwing those things. HTTP. Next, here basically we are going to use the auth2 resource server. Auth2 resource server. Okay, then we are going to use the JWT. Okay, and here basically we can use some kind of the config, either like if we are not going to use any kind of the converter, so then it's having a default converter which doing the internal work. But if we need something which we can do manual some work, or we can means after getting the access token from the request, any request, we need to like get the username or maybe some details from the token, and then accordingly getting the details from the token we need to perform some operations, or we need to validate from the database, or if we are want to store those details into our database, then we can write our own customized field converter, and we need to pass this converter over here. So for that basically we need to write the converter. Okay, so I'm going to write one converter for this one. So I write this one, but before that also like I will write another one over here, like http dot session management. Okay, how we are going to manage the session. So for that we can use the session policy. It will be a stateless dot stateless. Okay, so it will be a stateless, and then uh, finally like we can return this one. Okay, return http dot build. Okay, and it will be a instead of default we can use this one, security filter check. Okay, so this is done. Only what we need to do, we need to just write one converter for this one so that we can use over here. So for that we need to write the converter. So let's say here we are going to create another class like JWT auth converter. Okay, and we can annotate this one with @component. Okay, so it will be basically like implement the existing some converter, like this one converter, this converter, it's having a JWT this auth2, and then here basically it's we need to pass the abstract authentication token. Okay, now we need to implement the method like this convert method. Okay, so here first of all we need to use these two properties. First of all we need to like use this one, private Keycloak configurations, properties. Okay, and here in the we need to use the constructor over here. Okay, default constructor, and here basically we need to pass this one. Okay, this dot properties equal to properties. Okay, so that means this is done. Next basically also we need to use the JWT granted, this one JW, it will record this converter equals to new JWT this converter. Okay, now we are going to use all these things here. How we are going to use, let me show you. JWT, let it be, and here basically we are going to, first of all we need to collect all the roles and all those things from the token. So for that, stream dot dot, it will be from this util class dot, like it will concat actually. So what it will concat, first of all it will get the this object converter over here. It will convert, what it will convert, it will convert the JWT, and then it will stream, and in the next actually here basically it will actually access the get the roles, extract the roles from the token. So how we are getting the roles from over here? For that we need to write this method like private, and then for example I'm getting the void get roles. Okay, or maybe we can say extract roles. Here again it will take the JWT as a parameter, this same parameter it will take, and then here basically we need to first of all JWT dot get claim. Okay, and for that it will use this resource access, resource underscore access. Okay, so with that it will get the claim, and it will be like map of something, map of, okay, map of string and the object. It will return the string and object, as you can see over here, string and an object. Okay, in the next we can't get the roles from over here, and we need to put some kind of like validations for that, something like the not null and all those stuff. So for that, like, we need to use this particular if over here. Okay, like if it is not null, if it is null, and or if its resource ID is null, if the role is null, then either of the one of this is null, then we need to return the empty set. Okay, once all those things are done, then finally we can't like if those are not nulls, then we can access the role. We can collect all the roles from over here. So how we are going to do that? Dot stream dot map dot map dot map. Here basically we need to mapping, or means actually extracting the role over here. New simple granted authority is there. Simple granted authority. Here basically we can pass those things like role, means we can concatenate role underscore plus r. So whatever the role we are passing over here, basically we are concatenating all those things, and then finally like we can collect all those things. Here basically we are going to use the collectors. Collectors. collectors dot to set. Okay, so it will return all those things from over here. Okay, we can finally use the return. It's a return of set of this, or we can use the generic one. Okay, instead of the simple we can use this granted authority. Okay, instead of set we can use the collection. Okay, so it will return all the roles. It will extract the roles from this token, like as you can see over here. This basically get the things from over here in this JWT token claim using this, and then accordingly it will also access all the roles from over here and it will return all those things. Okay, so now actually we can use this auth converter. Okay, one more thing here, basically once we'll get all those things from over here, and then like we need to pass these things here. Okay, extract role JWT dot stream dot collect dot collect, and then we need to use this collectors dot to set. Okay, so these are done now. Next basically we are going to return this new JWT authentication token. Okay, and here we need to pass this JWT comma this one, it will return the collections of granted authorities. So we need to use this one over here. Okay, this authorities basically we need to pass here, and in the next basically the third parameter will be principal's claim name. So that also we need to extract from over here. So how we are getting that? Like private string get principal name, claim name actually, or name we can say. Here also it will take the JWT as a input parameter. Okay, here we need to first of all get the claim name. Name is equal to JWT claim names dot this one. Okay, and next we need to check these properties dot get principal attribute if it is a not equals to null, if not equals to null, then claim name equals to this one equals to principal dot get principal attributes, this properties dot this. Okay, and return JWT dot get claim this name. Okay, so and then this name we need to was over here. Okay, so this is a kind of converter that basically we are going to use over here, that we have already used in the filter here. Okay, so that means we have write the converter which will basically we are implemented this converter method, and we have override this convert. Okay, so we have did some kind of the customized operations over here so that we can use the claim name and all the other informations. Now if we are going to use this particular converter over here in the configuration, so how we are going to use that, we need to use this particular auth converter over here. Okay, so JWT auth converter, that we are going to use. Okay, private and we can directly pass this as a converter. Okay, so in this way basically we are going to use these things so that it will used. So now we have like applications wise we are done now. Like we have write the controller, we have write the security things, we have the write the converter, and we have also mapping those converter over here. We have provide the rules and all those things we have written over here. Now we need to start the application. Let's see like this application is running it or not properly. So for that we need to run it as a like Java applications. Let's see if we are getting any issues or not. We are getting one issue, so let me check. Okay, okay, so it's saying like this one, so we need to use the two space. Okay, we need to like put the tab over there, security Oauth2, and then resource server. Okay, and then JWT, then okay, in the next. Okay, okay, so now it should work now. Let rerun this again. Let's check if it is working fine again. Okay, where it is saying do not use the tab indentation. Okay, let me check. Seems to be fixed now. Let me start the application now again. So it was some kind of the tab issues that I have used, but we need to use the two spaces over here instead of the tab so that it will work properly. Else it will give us the compilation issues as we are getting. So as you can see over here, now this applications basically started in 8081 port. Okay, as we are using the embedded Tomcat, so it will started the applications. Now we can test from the Postman so that we can check the actual things how it is working. So now we are going to start these applications and we can check these APIs from the Postman. So let me start this one. Like from here we can start this application as Java applications. So it will not take much time. In the application YML file, if you see like I have added this logging level, so you can see like get the more logs in the console. As you can see over here, like when we will run this application, then we will get the more logs. Okay, nothing difference. So now as you can see over here, like we are having the two users, one is the admin, another one is this normal user. So from here basically for accessing the token, this is the URL like realms, then Springboot, this is the basically key, then protocol OpenID connect, and then the token. So for accessing this one, as it will be a post, so in the body basically it's a form until encoded. So here basically we need to pass this parameter like grant type as password. Then we need to pass the client ID, whatever the client ID we have set in the like this from over here. This client ID basically we need to pass over there. Okay, so here you can see, we can check from over here like what is the client ID. This is the client ID, so this client ID we need to pass over here. Then we are going to use the username. So this is the username and this is the password we have set for the admin. So this is the means basically admin user. So as if we send this one, so it will return us some information like access token, then like expiring, refresh expiring, this is the refresh token. Okay, so these are the information we'll get. The token type, it's a BRR token, then session state, and the scope is profile and email. So from here it will return us the like this token, access token, and for accessing the other APIs we need to pass this token. Okay, so this token will be expired in a 5 minutes, expire in this 300 seconds, so that means 5 minutes, right? Okay, so next basically we are going to use this access token for accessing this API. So this particular access token is generated for admin user. As you can see over here, this is a user for this admin. Okay, so the thing is that if we check the in the security filter, so here basically the admin path, the API slash admin, if it is a role having the admin, then only this particular user able to get this particular API. Okay, and if it is a API slash user, then the user which is having a role as a user, then this particular user only able to get this, able to access this particular API. Suppose for example we are having the admin user, we have generated the access token using the admin user, and now we are trying to access this URL, so we are able to successfully get this one. But if we try to access this URL with admin access token, then we'll get some kind of 403 forbidden exception. Okay, so now let's see, we have generated the access token with admin user. Okay, and so now we are trying to get the API slash admin, that means admin URL. Okay, so we are getting the response over here 200. Obviously it will return as this one, means if we check the controller, so it will return this hello admin. So that means we are getting able to successfully handle. Now if we try to hit this particular URL user, so here if we try to user, then let's see what it will give us the response. It will give us the 403 forbidden, means we are not able to access this one. It's an authentication issue. Okay, now if we try to access the same URL for generating the token with the app user. Okay, so let me update the username and password over here. So this is the thing, like it's also, we can also able to generate the access token with the user. Now we need to pass this one in here. Okay, for the user URL. Now let's try to hit this one. Okay, now you can see we are able to access the user URL. Okay, so that means whatever the role we have provided, so that means based on that, it's based on this it will actually trying to access. Now suppose with the user access token, if we try to access the admin URL, it will not allow us to access this one. It will get the 403 forbidden. Okay, so we can only able to this particular path. So that means in the filter, security filter or web configurations, whatever the path we will define, this particular only means based on the role it can be accessed. Okay, so this is the kind of things. And if we see the log over here, these are the kind of the debug as I was enabling the debug, so that's why we are able to get this kind of URL over here. Okay, so this is the way basically, like we can't like integrate this Keycloak authentications with the Springboot. We can secure our applications using this Keycloak with integrating with the Keycloak. So this is like very simple, and like I am trying to explain without any complexities. And if you guys have anything, still have any doubt or anything, please do let me know, or like drop a comment so that I can check those things and try to clear those doubts. Don't forget to subscribe my channel. I will like code, I will update into the GitHub repository and share the link into the description section. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.